This episode is dedicated to Nate is Lame. Hey neighbor, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for another episode of Hate It or Love It. This is a show where I scour the internet, from Quora to Reddit to MySpace.com. I'm looking for all of the reasons why somebody either loves or hates an artist. And while I've done the other side of this fence in the past with reasons why people love the alternative rock and funk band the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which go watch that video after you watch this one just so you see the other side of the argument, we're going to be looking at 5 reasons why people hate them. Regardless of how you feel about the Chili Peppers personally, they've become one of the most successful bands of all time, with multiple multi-platinum records all around the world. Their fan base is still in the multi-millions, and with their popularity not seeming to wane over the 4 decades that they've been writing and recording music, dating back to the early 1980s, I wanted to see, is this hate or this disdain for the band coming from a genuine place, or is it an argument that doesn't have legs to stand on? I fall on the side of the fence of loving the Red Hot Chili Peppers. In fact, they're one of my top 10 favorite bands, but I do think that criticism can be valid, so let's see how these stack up. If you enjoy the video, please hit a like, and let's get into it. Let's go ahead and escort this elephant out of the room first, because the most insanely obvious of the entire 5 points is that some people seem to think that the Chili Peppers only sing about California. It's California this, Californication that, Venice Queen here, Hollywood there. It's all California, almost as if they have an affinity for the state that they live in and spent most of their lives in. After Anthony Kiedis moved down from Michigan, LA and the surrounding areas are definitely important to the Chili Peppers and their history. It's where Flea and Anthony Kiedis bonded, and I can see how, from the surface level, if you've only listened to some of the singles that came out maybe between 1999 and 2006, oh wow, Danny California, Californication, I'm hearing all about it. But if you dive a little bit deeper past the singles, or to really any of their albums, there's a fun fact waiting for you, and it's the fact that they didn't actually say the word California in a song until the 1999 album Californication. A more valid competitor presents itself next. A lot of people take issue with the fact that nonsensical lyrics, or else things that seemingly don't make sense that Anthony is singing about, are just off-putting. They find it like it grinds their gears, it's very irritating, and they start to hear all of these songs on the radio or thrown into random playlists, and it seems like a lot of people get upset at that. Maybe things that they don't understand, or else just seem silly or goofy. Now, Anthony Kiedis is definitely a bit of a goofball. He can be a loose cannon at times with random lyrics, like "Up to my ass and alligators, let's get it on with the alligator haters." It doesn't really make sense, nor is it meant to. It's definitely a part of the band, and I can see why that would be an issue, but I also feel it's one of the things that sets them apart. I don't think every band needs to be this lyrical masterpiece, thinking outside of the box constantly. It's not like the Chili Peppers never do that, because there's lots of introspection and also reflection on the world at large, but they're not always trying to paint you this big, massive picture that's going to change your life. Sometimes it's just about sex, alcohol, adventures, getting into trouble, or whatever it may be. The Chili Peppers have definitely refined themselves over the years, but rest assured, nonsensical writing is not the only thing that they have to their name. The sellout card is being pulled because some people to this day cannot stand the fact that the Chili Peppers did not keep their core aggressive funk rap rock sound that they presented on albums like the Uplift Mofo Party Plan and even their self-titled album that came out all the way back in 1983. It's a little bit weird to me that some people would still tie them to this sound and expect them to be teenagers in their late 50s going into their 60s at this point. It's not something that I ever see them losing in terms of the funk. It's always been strong with the band because Flea always hits those grooves, and when they really lock in, they can definitely push that dynamic. But it seems like a lot of people hate the fact that they went mainstream in the 90s. They had a lot of hits, from Give It Away to the later years, even with Dave Navarro in the band, Aeroplane got a lot of play, and then coming back with John Frusciante back on guitar with Californication in 1999, that album put them all over the map, quite literally all around the world, and that 3-album run from there to By the Way to Stadium Arcadium is so impressive, but it was also multi-platinum seller after multi-platinum seller, and I think a lot of people just got exhausted on the Chili Peppers. So that can be hard to argue with as a criticism. If you genuinely get tired of an artist, that's what happens. But if you take issue with the fact that they got popular, sorry, that's what I'm going to say to really any criticism on any list like this. It can't be helped if you do get that big. They were actually trying to push their sound and conquer the world, and that's exactly what they did. Anthony Kiedis, the leader and founder of the Chili Peppers, seems to be one of the things that is most hated about his own band. With him being the front man, he definitely has an intense personality. He's acted out over times, he's battled addiction issues both with drugs and alcohol, currently sober and has been for quite some time. But back in his heyday, having read both his and Flea's autobiographies, you know that they got into some shit, some things that definitely would not fly by today's standards, and things that some people are not going to ever let go. And to a degree, I do understand that. Anthony has a reputation for being a womanizer, for being reckless, and also a lot of people just hate his voice. So when you combine those things, again, this one is a bit hard to argue with, because if you're looking at it from the outside in, you can see how Anthony could be a problem. But in his defense, I do feel that he's cleaned up his act a lot, and he definitely seems like a different, healthier person now that's genuinely trying to bring some light to the world. So even keeping the past in mind, I do think it's important to look forward to the future. The final critique that I'll present to you is the supposed lack of innovation that many people have pointed out with the Chili Peppers. They feel like they kind of plateaued somewhere in the 1990s and just continued making the same album time and time again after that. And while I can definitely agree that many of the Chili Peppers albums, they're obviously instantly recognizable, they do have similar sonic palettes, and obviously if John Frusciante is the one on guitar, there are moments where you just know that it's him playing, the tone, and also Flea on the bass, Chad's drumming, and Kiedis on vocals. But that also screams to me dedication and passion beyond just chasing one sound. If you listen to By the Way next to I'm With You or The Getaway or even their debut album, they all sound pretty drastically different, although you could probably pinpoint that it's the same vocalist or maybe some of the same members. I don't think innovation has necessarily been a huge stalling point for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I feel like they're one of those bands, with their back against the wall, they're not just going to shit out an album, they'll take their time, and trust me, anyone who's a fan of the band knows how long it can be to wait. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Hate It or Love It. What do you think about the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Are you a fan of the band, or are you somebody that falls on the side of the fence of hating them? If so, explain yourself. I'm genuinely curious to see where both sides are coming from, why you either love or hate them. Please hit that like button, check out some more of my Chili Peppers videos on screen, and I'll be back soon.